On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about the 5 most common mistakes when choosing your niche. And in the quick tip, we share free video tutorials for learning keyword research in a matter of minutes.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay, and we're on a mission to help you start your own internet business. You can go right now to freevideogift.com to check out a video that teaches you the right way to start your very own online business. So, Sterling, we put that survey out recently, and the results were very, very fascinating. As we always teach, we like to, keep in touch with, and you even mentioned in our last episode how we'd surveyed to influence our new opt-in process, and also we did a survey to kind of find out what kind of products people wanted most. And I was going to have you guess what the top answers were, but you actually already know because you looked at the survey too.
Ooh, let me see. About your niche.
Exactly.
Membership sites? I absolutely love surveys. And I just, again, another one of those things where, ask the people exactly what they want and just give them that instead of all this extra stuff. Or let's talk about shiny and new stuff. Let's just give them exactly what they want. So what do we got?
Well, so the number one thing that people said that they're wanting more help with, more content for, is in choosing a niche. And I totally can understand why that is. I mean, certainly I think a lot of people see that as kind of that critical first step. If they only knew what the right idea was for them, then getting started on their business would be no problem at all. And it can feel like a very weighty decision, that whole finding the right niche. And it is an important decision, though. I think people put a lot more pressure on themselves than they really need to. And so, incidentally, we're going to start working on a new course, a standalone course, all about choosing your niche. Even though in the Academy we have a full module on that's got a proven process that's been helping our students for years now. We're going to go ahead and look into it, revisit it, see what more we might be able to do to help people get past whatever little pitfalls they're having. So we're going to be looking for more of your input over the next few weeks to help us make sure that course really fits your needs. So if you can just watch the blog, watch the email list for our inquiries about, okay, niche, what do you need? What do you want? What are your questions? And that'll help us to help you quite a bit. The other big one was how to launch a product, interestingly, which we got something coming down the pipeline now for that, now that people are asking for that. And then third was how to launch a membership site, which it seems silly that we haven't done a course until now. We've been doing this for several years, and clearly a membership site's a big part of our business. It makes a lot of sense that people would be wanting to know how to start a membership site of their own. Well, we're happy to say that you can look forward this summer to a course all about how to launch a successful and profitable membership site. You asked for it, and we'll do it.
And now, the features segment.
So in the spirit of that survey that said people want to know more about how to choose a niche, we thought we would go ahead and start out with this episode right here. And we jotted down the 5 most common mistakes that we see people make when choosing a niche for their business. We've been doing a lot of coaching courses lately. We've got our new Fast Track program that people are sending in their niches for feedback. And it's given us a lot of insight into some of those pitfalls and mistakes that people can fall into. Some assumptions they make or whatnot. So here they are, the 5 most common mistakes when choosing a niche, and obviously how you can avoid making those mistakes yourself. So number 1 is not defining an audience as well. And this is one that I think is really very unique actually to our system. I've been looking through a lot of other systems lately that teach about choosing niches. And, they always talk about, okay, niche is very specific and you want to, choose something that's got enough demand, but not too much competition, all those different things that get said. But really, it's so critical that in choosing a niche, you're not only just choosing a topic like weight loss or, tennis or scuba diving or macrame or whatever the case may be, but you need to also choose the audience as well. We talked last episode about becoming a person of value, an expert, and the key part of that was choosing, well, what kinds of people do you want to help so that those people can connect with you and see but when they find you, they see, oh, you're a lot like me. You've have experiences that I'm going through right now. You have the kind of knowledge I need. You can't connect with that audience if you don't define, first of all, who it is that you're trying to connect with. And so that's a big part of the process that we teach in the academy and our coaching programs, is to sit down and define that ideal audience member, that type of person. So as an example, we've had people come and say, oh, okay, well, my niche is going to be weight loss. And, they might even be more specific and say something like, paleo weight loss plan, or, a number of the other types of plans out there. But, or maybe it's CrossFit weight loss, and that's great. Those are all more niches. Weight loss is too broad, but, getting more specific, paleo, CrossFit, something like that is definitely more nichey, but it's still not enough. You have to ask yourself, okay, well, for who? Weight loss for who?
Yeah, one of the worst answers I hear for this question is everyone. Right. Everyone is my audience.
Young, old, men, women.
Everybody. Well, and I give the example like I've talked about in the coaching recently. I was talking about some friends that have an actual weight loss type show. It's called Healthy Mind, Fit Body. And what they actually found was that their audience wasn't exactly the ones that really would help them grow their business. So they were basically targeting more like men between the ages of 20 and 30 or 35 that need to lose maybe 5 or 10 pounds at the very, very most. And if you put that versus what in the weight loss industry is kind of the key demographic that you want, women above 40 with at least 50 pounds to lose, they're the buyers. Right. And so they were realizing that by just saying everyone, what ended up happening is they started targeting people that were just like them as fit guys rather than people that were overweight and really needed their help, losing the weight. So, without making that distinction, they ended up getting kind of the group that wasn't particularly interested in paying. They wanted to just know the science and the stuff that the guys on the show put out there. But, with just some tweaks and stuff, obviously, you really want to know who that target is. And so I've talked with them all about who they're targeting and how they're going to inform that audience and be clear about the audience, not just the niche, which again, like you said, is not something that's out there being taught. You want to know who your audience is. And like we talked about last episode, you want to like that audience. You want to be able to talk to that audience.
Yeah, because obviously men approach weight loss differently than women. People who have 10 pounds to lose approach it different than people who have 100 pounds to lose. People who are 50 and above approach it differently than somebody who has just turned 30 and is noticing their metabolism slowing down a little bit. So it doesn't do any good if the person shows up and you're a completely different type of person. They're not going to be able to connect with you. And that's why it's so important to define that audience.
Well, and as an example, too, I said if you're talking to a person that has 8% body fat and they want to get to 6, right? So they're skinny. Right. They're relatively healthy. Do you think, what are they going to be willing to do to lose that 2% body fat when they're already really healthy compared to somebody that has 50 pounds of extra weight? And they have all the uncomfortable aspect of being overweight, all of that stuff. Those two audiences are completely different in what they're going to be willing to pay to learn how to fix their problem. And I mean, this is why choosing an audience is so important.
So mistake number 2 is choosing a niche that doesn't have enough demand. I mean, clearly you need something where there's actually a market big enough for people that are actually looking for a solution. I think in most cases, what I see people, the mistake they make is not necessarily choosing a market that's too small. It's more that they choose a market where people aren't, out there actively looking for a solution. They're not really feeling the pain yet. They're not spending money on a solution, let alone actively looking for one. And a great example of this would be anything having to do with prevention. You're going to have, if somebody came to me and said, well, I want to start a niche that's all about how to prevent getting cancer by eating, vegetarian or something like that, there might be some people interested in that. But, the sad truth is that there's going to be a heck of a lot more people who, once they're feeling the pain of, oh my gosh, I just got diagnosed with cancer, what do I do now? That are actively looking for a solution and are obviously going to be willing to spend money to learn, okay, what can I do to to mitigate the pain, to mitigate the recovery, to increase my chances of kicking the cancer. And that's kind of a grim example, but that's just, you have to ask yourself, is there a pain that people are feeling now and actively looking for a solution for, or, at the very least, a passion that they're feeling, that they're always constantly out there and looking, like golfers is the example that we like to give a lot. So demand has a lot to do with pain and passion. And if your chosen audience and your chosen topic, there isn't that pain or passion and actively looking and actively spending money willing to spend money for solutions, then you're going to have a hard time making money. You gave the example there with they were attracting people who are already extremely fit, so there's really not much of a pain there. They just happen to be curious about the science. But there wasn't, so it's not like they're really looking for a solution. They're getting some entertainment value out of the show, but they're not going to go and pay money now to get additional information or lose a few more pounds. They're already fit. They were attracting people just like them. And so there wasn't really a demand for spending money for a solution there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to target a Texas cowboy who likes to macrame, that might be niched down just a tiny bit over 50, right?
A little bit too much, right?
Yeah, that might not be the right audience or niche in this case.
Cowboys over 50 in Texas who want to learn to macrame.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
All right, mistake number 3 is choosing a niche that is not profitable. So this kind of relates to what we were just saying is, if there's not people willing to spend money in that niche, you're going to have a hard time making money yourself. But there's actually a really easy way to go about finding out if you do have a profitable niche. Well, there's a few different ways, but most people think this needs to be some kind of complicated market analysis. So you're going to have to go out and survey people and crunch numbers and do some keyword research and multiply that by the cost per click being bid on ads and, and all this stuff. And there are different systems all about that, but we've been able to boil it down to really just one question that you have to ask yourself. And this is the same thing that we teach in our system in the academy. And that is just to go online, do a few searches and ask yourself, are people selling info in this niche? Or are they at the very least paying for advertising in this niche? If you do a search and you see a bunch of AdWords ads being run on those keywords that have to do with the niche you've chosen, well, people wouldn't be running those ads if they couldn't make money. They'd be throwing, now if there's one advertiser, you can go, okay, well, maybe that person hasn't figured it out yet. But obviously if you see 3 or 4 or 5 advertisers, that's a first clue that, okay, you know what, there's some money to be made here because they wouldn't be just throwing that money into a black hole. Or if you do some Google searches and you find, relatively quickly the fact that, oh, here's somebody selling an ebook that's similar to the kind of thing that I want to do. Or, hey, over here I see somebody's got coaching related to that. If people are selling products, and especially if they're selling information products, that's a good indication that, yes, there's money to be made. So actually, this is a case where competition is a good thing. Quote unquote competition. Some competition is perfect because it tells you, okay, this niche is proven. There's gold in those hills. There's money to be made. And so I can go and claim my little stake there as well. Now, you definitely want to stay away from targeting any keywords that are clearly going for free information. If somebody said, hey, I want to start a website, it's about recipes, just, sharing my favorite recipes or teaching, recipes for beginners, I'd probably be pretty leery. In fact, I would definitely be very leery about that because, there's so many places for free to get recipes online. And, in a lot of cases we say, hey, just because there's free information available online doesn't mean that you can't sell information. But there's definitely cases like this, like recipes is like, okay, well, you've got the Food Network and all these other places with huge volumes of traffic. They're making money off of advertising it because they've got a TV show and a network and all those things. And so that's not going to work well for you. So the much better approach would be, okay, I'm going to focus on we're just going to use paleo again as an example because Sterling's studying this a lot lately. If you said, okay, well, I'm going to start a site that's all about, okay, tips for what to get at the grocery store, how to plan your meals ahead, how to avoid the kinds of cravings as you're trying to change your diet, how to, because you're probably cooking more, how can you make the cooking really easily because maybe you've never cooked much in your life. Here are systems and just things to make this really, really easy as you try to apply the paleo lifestyle and lose weight and become more healthy. And yes, I'll be offering recipes to that specific niche, but I'm mostly wanting to solve this, urgent pain and problem people have of, I need to improve my health. I believe paleo is the way. So, that's a niche, not just like, hey, I'm going to offer paleo recipes itself. If that's your primary keyword, okay, that's probably people looking for free info. But, other kinds of things about paleo is going to be a much better bet for profitability. So that's mistake number 3, not choosing a niche that is profitable. Mistake number 4 is going up against too much competition. Now, we already said some competition is a good sign. Now, there is going to be some limit to that competition. Now, if you were to go online and search for paleo tips and paleo systems and paleo exercise and paleo diet and stuff, you are going to see lots of people out there. But I wouldn't say that's like, too much competition. You just want to make sure that you're targeting, again, a very specific audience, and then you'll be able to stand out and do your thing. But if you were to go to Google, and Google is just completely full of heavy hitters, big, huge sites, like big, huge news sites and big, huge educational university sites and sites that just clearly seem to have a strong foothold on that first page in Google. I mean, like something like airline tickets. If you're to choose your niches, I'm going to help people buy airline tickets. That's probably not the best thing for a beginner to go after because there's a huge amount of competition there. If you were to get very specific, though, about a kind of travel to the Caribbean for a specific kind of audience, that's something that then, and airline tickets is one piece of that. That's a different story. But you do want to make sure that you're not going up against too much competition. And one of our favorite ways of measuring this is using a keyword tool that you can find at getyourkeywordtool.com. And actually, in the quick tip, we're going to talk about a quick and easy way that you can learn the bit of keyword research that'll help you very quickly find out if you've got too much competition in a niche. And the 5th and final mistake is the mistake of chasing the money at the expense of your passion. And people get tempted away from this. We'll have people start out like, I'm so excited and passionate. We emphasize passion because passion is what's going to keep you going. And the moments where things get a little bit uncertain or you come up against an obstacle, which is inevitable, passion is the thing that's going to keep you excited and keep you moving. And I know sometimes it's tempting for people to go, I feel like, if I went chasing, it's easy for a lot of people to default to, I'm going to go and teach internet marketing now. Because clearly they've started learning about internet marketing, which is what's brought them to the point of choosing a niche. And they see people being successful in internet marketing, and now they go, I'm going to go and be teach internet marketing too, because it seems like there's money to be made there. But, in our experience, when you just go chasing the money, ignore the passion, it doesn't work out well for you. And why do you think that is, Sterling? I know you're big on emphasizing passion as well.
Well, that's a great question, and I rarely hear this talked about. If you're simply chasing the money, that you might find yourself annoyed with the business like most people don't like their jobs. Like, let's say 3 years into it, as you're really trying to, let's say, ramp up the traffic, and let's say an aspect of that isn't that interesting. It's different when you're just doing it for cash as opposed to doing it for a mission. Like, you absolutely have a complete passion for this thing. Like for us, internet marketing wasn't just simply this thing, a means to an end. We actually loved the whole aspect of getting our ideas and something we love so much out to people who really, really want and need our services. Like it was an absolute passion. And it's a weird thing because I know that I've turned away many business opportunities because I know I didn't have any interest past the money. But I've actually learned this by doing business both without looking at my lifestyle design choices and not have any real interest in the product or audience. And again, what's happened is when I've done businesses like that, anytime I start getting bored with the actual technical business stuff, I just don't have the interest or passion to continue going.
Yeah, you definitely want to still be passionate about what you're doing in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years. I mean, if you think to what we talked about in the last episode about being a person of value, for a specific audience of people that you're excited to help and deliver value to. It's going to be hard to do that if your only motivation is money. And in fact, that's going to come across in your content and going to make it harder not only for you to infuse, magnetism into what you're doing, but also for your audience to really connect with what you're doing, because they'll be able to tell if you're, there's a reason why I don't go and teach people about how to make money in the stock market. I'm just not interested in that. I'm not excited about that. I'm not going to go and have experiences in that. I'm not going to want to read about the latest in that. And so if I were to force myself to do that, in a matter of no time, it would become a grind. It would become something that was really no more fun than when I was employed as an engineer.
Yeah, honestly, the last thing you want to be stuck in is a business that you hate or you don't actually enjoy any of it or the product, because then you're basically worse off than if you just had a job you hate. Because, especially if you've left a job to create a business, and this is something that kind of happened to me, one of the businesses that I started working on. Again, I just happened to know something about the industry, so I teamed up with somebody and we started doing it. And he had an interest in it, and I lost my interest in it. And then I'm going, wow, I have to do this to bring the money in. And I'm like, wait a minute, now I've gotten myself a new job. Right. Because I just need the money. I just need the money, and I have no passion. And that was just right before, we started really ramping up Internet Business Mastery, and I had to make those decisions of, no, I want to be doing something I absolutely love and make money that way. So, I transitioned and I thought, wow, I wish I had just done the thing I loved all along and not had to go through all those things of, I'm just trying to fight for the money.
So let's go ahead and review here quickly the 5 most common mistakes that we see when choosing a niche. Number 1 is not defining an audience as well. Number 2 is choosing a niche without any demand, where there's no pain, no people actually looking for a solution. Number 3 is choosing a niche that's not profitable. Number 4 is going up against too much competition. And number 5 is chasing the money at the expense of your passion. Right. This breakthrough comes from one of our Academy members, goes by the name of Paul. And here's what he said in the forums. He said, I've been listening to the podcast for a year now, and it's been a great motivation. We put our site live in January. Our breakthrough happened a couple of days ago. We sold our first product. It's only a couple of euros, but it felt so great that someone in the US bought a sound effect from us here in Ireland. I just subscribed to a lifetime membership because of the advice in the podcast brought me this far. The sky's the limit for an Academy member. Our site is soundgorilla.com. Thanks, Sterling and Jay, for keeping the motivation. I just need to gain the momentum now and finally escape the 9-to-5. All the best, Paul.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's my favorite is when they get their first sale.
Yeah.
Right, that's the favorite. And then the second favorite, or let's say the progression of favorites, is when he does escape the 9-to-5.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the big one. But, that's awesome getting that first sale.
Well, thanks, Paul, for sharing that breakthrough, and for sure keep us in the loop with your continued progress. And we'd love to have you on the show to share your story someday.
And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
So earlier in the feature segment, we talked about a keyword tool that we enjoy using to look for new niches, or look for article ideas, or to look for what our audience is searching for online. It gives you all kinds of great insights for making money. And the keyword tool that we use, you can find by going to getyourkeywordtool.com. And we've actually mentioned this keyword tool on a previous quick tip. It's a tool by the name of Market Samurai. And the specific tip that we want to give you this time is that if you go to getyourkeywordtool.com, that'll forward you over to their site, and they've got a set of really great video tutorials. And so if you click on the support tab, and then you click on the video tutorials link, and then click on Market Samurai, and then click on the video tutorials they have there, we'll have a direct link in our show notes, but just wanted to, for people who go through there and how to kind of find them on the site. It's a set of 5 videos. One is an introduction to keyword research, and then they have what they call their 4 golden rules, and they have a video on each of those 4 golden rules, and they kind of walk you through things like making sure you have a market with enough demand, not too much competition, and just kind of finding that right balance and determining if it's profitable or not. So in a matter of minutes, you can watch those videos. They have a free trial too for their software for a couple weeks. You can try it out. and get your feet wet with some of this niche finding stuff. So if you're feeling particularly motivated by the ideas that we gave about a niche today, that would be one of the first things you'd want to do to kind of get those juices flowing, get some ideas, is go to getyourkeywordtool.com and watch those keyword research videos.
If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to InternetBusinessMasteryAcademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5 Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.